Okay, so you've made it to the end of this course. Paradigm number 5, which is that everybody has incalculable personal worth. And I wish I had hours to talk to you about this. Maybe someday in the future I will. But my little subtitle here is that yes, that has everything in the world to do with music. So I talked about this American Idol culture before, which is where we put where these people with immense talent put their self-worth as a human being in front of some kind of judgmental people and the American public at large, and you can see how that puffs them up or how it destroys them when they get positive or negative feedback. And the truth is, we need to get beyond being able to be moved by praise or by blame. We need to move to the place where we understand that there are no levels in music, and we're going to talk about that in just a minute. So this is usually what I give on my first lesson, is this inverted mountain, which is that when I was a child, when I was younger, when I first had that experience with the Beethoven piano concerto, I thought that the mountain was the other way, like a good old-fashioned mountain, like this kind. And I thought I was at the bottom of the mountain, but that there was an actual top to the mountain where I could get, where I would become a master of all music, and I would have it all figured out. But the older I got and the more I learned about music, that mountain turned upside down like this. And the further I get up the mountain, this part in the middle is what I realize there is to know about music. So the further you get up the mountain, the more you realize you know nothing about music. And someone who has really gone up the mountain just knows that they know absolutely nothing about music. Now, let's say that my talent and what I know about music is somewhere around here. And let's put J.S. Bach, about 3 miles off the screen. When J.S. Bach looks down at me and my amassed knowledge, here's me and maybe here's you, right? And so there comes a point where if you've been far enough up the mountain, you just start to see everyone as being in the same place, going up a mountain and participating in something that we do not understand. It makes us all equals. It equalizes the playing field 100%. Now, this is important. Some teachers and musicians know just enough to be dangerous. These are the people who think they know too much, and they use music as a way to compare, to rate, rank, and assess, and then to either make you feel great or awful about yourself, depending on how you compare to them and how you fit their personal definition of what a great musician is. So be careful of those people. Now, one of my favorite musicians is a man named Bill Frisell. He's a guitarist, and he's a master. And he just talks about how when he looks for musicians to collaborate with, he tries to find musicians who don't view music in terms of levels. And this is just going back to that concept. There are no levels in music. It is just far beyond our ability to understand. And it's something that we can only experience. And when you are experiencing it, whether you're a newbie or you've been doing it for 60 years, you know when you are experiencing the healing, powerful aspects of music. And that's accessible to anyone who is sincere and self-aware enough to work on that. So there's a paradox here. That is that on one sense, it's true that there are no levels in music and that we're all just in this together. But then in another sense, you do have to, as a human being decide what your music needs to sound like. And I just thought I should address that here just really quickly. Anyway, so let me talk now about an experience I had. I was driving by a grove of trees, and I looked and I saw all these different types of trees. I saw big, huge oak trees, and I saw little tiny trees and some shrubs. But the overall effect of it was so incredibly gorgeous, so beautiful. And it was sensual overload for me. And I realized, I was looking at them and I thought, now what if we came up with rules about what made trees beautiful? What made what trees were best? The tallest trees the best, the fattest trees, the skinniest trees? And I just realized, and I started thinking about birdsong. If you're sitting in a forest and all these different birds start singing, you don't start assessing it. You stop and you listen, and you stand paralyzed at the absolute beauty of what's occurring. That's us. There's not a rubric. We need to redefine beauty. I'll tell you what beauty is. You are beautiful. The reason why you're beautiful is because you are human. And then by nature of that logic, your music is beautiful because you are human. Miles Davis said, sometimes you have to play a long time to be able to play like yourself. And here's another quote along the same lines. Judy Garland says, always be a first-rate version of yourself instead of a second-rate version of someone else. And this is the important thing. This is the part where you need to take the comparison out of the equation and trust the music that is coming out of you and trust what you need to do to deepen your experience in music. So I don't know if you remember this scene from Dead Poets Society, but this is the scene where Robin Williams rips out, it makes them rip out the front page of their textbooks because the textbook had created a way to rate, rank, and assess poetry and decide which poems are the best and which ones are worst. And he helped them to understand that what matters is the effect that the poems have on you. So this is an old student of mine. His name is Brent Vartstra. He's a New York City-based composer, jazz guitarist, and teacher. He's a published author through Hal Leonard, and he's also the owner and operator of LearnJazzStandards.com, and he's a creator of the online jazz school. All things that you should check out because he's an amazing teacher and an amazing musician. And I am going to just share something that I experienced recently this Thanksgiving. On his website, he wrote an article on Thanksgiving, a jazz mentor I'm thankful for, and what he taught me. And as I read the article, it definitely brought me to tears. I remembered working with Brent, and it was wonderful to have him express the impact that I'd had on his life. And the reason why I wanted to share that is because I want you to think about who is waiting for you and whose life will never be the same because you made the choice to share your music with people. I promise you that it's important. As the cart follows the horse, if you make music, you will begin to connect with people. It just happens. You start getting your music going and you start performing it and playing it and you start connecting with others and sharing it and you meet people and you start changing each other's lives and you start creating beauty, which is one of the most important things a person can do right now in this world. So Einstein said, everybody is a genius, but if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will live its whole life believing that it is stupid. Again, this is just going back to that idea that you can't compare yourself to others, but you need to recognize what it is that you have to offer as a person. So I have a student named Micah. He is one of my most accomplished students. He lives in Boise, and he's a songwriter and a band leader, and I just put a SoundCloud link. But I remember this one night I played a gig with Micah that was really unpleasant. The audience wasn't paying any attention, and the music didn't go as well. And I was in this horrible mood, and I talked to Micah afterwards. Micah was in a great space, and he shared with me that the other day he'd been playing a gig, and he realized that this is what I'm doing with my life. I am a musician. And some people, their calling is to be a soldier. Some people, their calling is to be a lawyer or a doctor. And they have to go through so much pain and do so many difficult things. We're musicians. We get to heal people through sound. And he shared that with me, and it really impacted me and helped me understand this sort of higher purpose that we all have as musicians. So my life's calling is you, or people like you, is to help you to find your voice as a musician, and I want to do that for you. So one thing you can do, if this has worked for you, if you've enjoyed this, you can order my 6-week musical transformation. There's more information available about that on my website. Again, this is just about how changing the paradigms changes everything. And this course was about planting the seeds. And the next course is about cultivating those seeds through hard work and daily habits. So if you resonate with this approach, let's keep going. So the reason why I'm doing this is because I'm trying to find the right people. The reason why I do these videos is I want to find people who need my help. And if you feel like you need my help, I want to help you. And so I would just ask you to go to creativemusicacademy.net or email me at creativemusicacademy99@gmail.com if you want more information about anything that I have to offer. And thank you so much for this course and for listening to what I have to say. I hope to work with you more in the future.